Welcome, concerned viewers, to Planet Earth, our loving home. Today's program is the first in a three-part series examining the complete destruction of many Japanese coastal communities following the March 11, 2011 Tohoku earthquake centered off of Japan's northeast coast. Measuring 9.0 on the Richter scale, the quake was the world's fourth largest since 1900 and generated an immense destructive tsunami that hit the coast just minutes after the seismic event. Entire seaside towns were flattened as they were directly hit by the tsunami, which had waves up to 24 meters high. Of the 30 coastal towns wiped out, 24 or 80% were fishing ports, with many fishing and trawling ships left badly damaged or completely gone in the wake of the tsunami. A spokesperson for Tokyo's Tsukiji Fish Market, the largest wholesale fish and seafood market in the world, stated, "The entire fishing industry has disappeared." This event not only resulted in widespread loss of human and animal life, but also caused radiation to be released from the severely quake-damaged Fukushima Daiichi nuclear complex in Fukushima Prefecture, elevating radiation levels in cities far from the site, such as Tokyo. Even 10 days after the massive seismic event, magnitude 6.0 and higher aftershocks have been recorded in Japan, rattling the nerves of already traumatized survivors while raising risks of landslides and further destruction. As of March 26, 2011, over 27,000 are dead or missing, with more than 362,000 displaced and/or evacuated from their homes. Over 18,000 buildings were totally destroyed and nearly 98,500 damaged by the catastrophe. This is the most expensive natural disaster in history, and the Japanese government estimates that the cost to rebuild is around $310 billion US. Due to the intervention of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society in mid-February 2011, Japan's whaling fleet ceased whaling in the Southern Ocean near Antarctica a month earlier than scheduled, arriving in Tokyo Bay on March 21, 2011. Owing to this early return home, Japanese officials were able to immediately redirect one of Japan's largest whaling ships, the Nishin Maru, to deliver aid to the hardest-hit prefectures in the northeast. Sharing his heartfelt thoughts about the tragedy in Japan, Captain Paul Watson of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society wrote the following in his March 23, 2011 online report.
Our hearts and sympathies do go out to the men and women in the whaling fleet who may have lost family and friends to the disaster. I personally know how frustrating it is to be at sea when there is a loss in the family. We do not know what the Japanese whalers knew of the disaster, or even when they knew it, but we can only imagine the anguish some may have suffered.
Many coastal towns in the worst affected northeastern prefectures of Iwate, Miyagi, and Fukushima had economies primarily based on the fishing industry. These communities have been completely shattered by the earthquake and tsunami, leaving the survivors traumatized, helpless, and destitute. Iwate Prefecture, the northernmost of the three northeastern prefectures, is a popular tourist destination for hiking, boating, camping in the summer, and skiing in the winter. The fishing port of Otsuchi Town was literally swept away by the immense tsunami. Of the estimated population of 16,000, 10,000 are missing, with most presumed dead. The mayor of Otsuchi Town, Koki Kato, sadly lost his life to the tsunami. The city of Miyako, with a population of more than 57,000, suffered extensive damage, including the small fishing village of Taro that is part of the city. The village was ravaged by the waves despite a 10-meter-high seawall that was built to protect Taro from further tsunamis after the 1933 Sanriku earthquake. Homes and buildings have disappeared, debris is everywhere, and 2,000 are missing or dead. Ofunato, another fishing port in Iwate, reported a 23.6-meter-high wall of water thundering down on the town, engulfing and flattening most of the buildings and taking many residents out to sea. As of March 24, 2011, nearly 10,000 have perished and over 16,000 people are missing. One of the very few buildings that were left standing and virtually undamaged was the town's theater, which now serves as a shelter for survivors. The same devastation was repeated in the fishing town of Rikuzen Takata, where 5,000 houses and buildings were completely swept away. A Rikuzen Takata tsunami survivor tells of his harrowing experience.
地震はものすごい揺れで、立っていられないくらい揺れました。それでこれではダメだということで、孫を背負って車で来ないで歩いてきました。そしたら避難場所に来て10分も経たないうちにものすごい水しぶきが上がって風かと思うくらい真っ黒な煙を吐きながら登ってきました。それで避難場所も危なくなって山へ駆け上りました。はい、以上です。
Miyagi Prefecture's capital is Sendai, the most populated city in the prefecture with more than 1 million residents. Sendai specializes in electronics and appliance manufacturing and food processing. Much commerce flows through its large port. The earthquake's epicenter was 130 kilometers from Sendai. Just over an hour after the massive temblor struck, the resulting tsunami swamped Sendai Airport, washing away cars and airplanes and flooding many buildings. Though the tsunami did not reach the heart of Sendai itself, the force of the quake caused substantial damage to infrastructure such as cracks in buildings and roads. Minami Sanriku, a major fishing center in Miyagi, was entirely inundated by the tsunami. A staggering 95% of the town was destroyed, and fishing vessels were either completely obliterated or smashed beyond repair. More than half of the population of approximately 17,000 remain unaccounted for. One witness characterizes the town as a submerged cemetery. A similar story was repeated in Iwanuma City. Prior to the disaster, the municipality had a population of around 44,000.
しかし大津波警報が出ましたので、できるだけ多くの皆さんに避難していただくように呼びかけたわけでありますが、残念なことでありますが、我々が考えられるような本当に強い津波、大きな津波だったために、かなりの人が命を落としたり、もうそれこそ家が全て流出するという形で、もう本当に岩沼の町が始まって以来の大惨事ということで、衝撃を受けております。
Other coastal communities in Miyagi Prefecture that incurred major destruction and had their fishing industries wiped out include Keisenuma, Ishinomaki, and Shiogama. Prior to the catastrophe, Keisenuma accounted for 90% of Japan's shark fin trade. In 2009, nearly 14,000 tons of shark went through this port town. In the coastal whaling base of Ishinomaki, a whale processing facility was swept away. Many residents of Fukushima Prefecture's coastal region are involved in the fishing and seafood processing industries, as well as carp aquaculture production. The fishing communities of Minami Soma, and Namie, like many others, were largely laid to waste by the earthquake and tsunami. At the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear complex, located in the prefecture's Futaba district, a major crisis unfolded following the Tohoku earthquake. Due to releases of radiation, a mandatory evacuation order was issued for residents within a 20-kilometer radius of the nuclear power plant, and a voluntary one issued for those within 30 kilometers of the complex. Citizens as far away as Tokyo are being affected, with the Japanese government warning that the city's radiation-tainted tap water is unsafe for infants to drink. Since March 11th, Local and international humanitarian relief organizations have been working tirelessly around the clock to serve the numerous victims needing care and comfort. The ordeal of the survivors continues, with many of the displaced staying in overcrowded shelters and enduring freezing temperatures while facing shortages of food, water, medicine, and other necessities. In the midst of all the chaos and the suffering, the mayor of Iwanuma City noted the following.
そしてまたまだまだ地震とか津波の被害が残念ながら各地で起こりうるわけでありますので、我々の経験をぜひ他の皆さん方にも聞いていただいて、そして絶対こういった悲劇が二度と繰り返さないようにできれば非常にありがたいと思っております。
Supreme Master Ching Hai has often spoken about the many natural disasters occurring around our world, such as in this August 2009 video conference in Thailand.
On one hand, yes, it is alarming to see so many crises erupting one after another. But if we stop to remember what our religions have taught us and what our scientific observations show us, these problems are not without their causes. It's all about the energy, negative or positive. Like energy attracts like energy. From this viewpoint, we see that we have produced a lot of negative energy by killing billions and billions of innocent sentient life and killing millions of our fellow humans even, over millennia, directly or indirectly. How could we escape our own conscience and the collective murderous energy that is emitted and hangs in the atmosphere until it is forced to manifest again, as wars, as disease, as the unstable climate, and its disastrous consequence? It is not a coincidence that the main cause of global warming is meat eating, It's not. And the main cause of many of the leading health problems in our world are also derived from meat eating. So meat eating is cruelty to animals. Meat eating is cruelty to our well-being. Meat eating is cruelty to our children's well-being. Meat eating is cruelty to the planet. If we don't change our way of life, things will only speed along in this destructive path. So in order to go toward a positive destination for ourselves and the planet, all we have to do is change the direction. Be vegan. Make peace with one another and our co-inhabitants. Create peace. Emanate compassion, then the future will be peaceful. And we will never have to suffer many of these kinds of consequences, ever again.
Please join us next Wednesday on Planet Earth, Our Loving Home, for part 2 of our 3-part series examining the devastation to coastal towns in northeastern Japan following the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. Thank you for joining us today on our program. Enlightening entertainment is up next after noteworthy news. May all of humanity soon return to their original, noble, compassionate nature and live in harmony with Mother Earth.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/PE